thousands of matric learners are facing rejection as South African public universities struggle to accommodate the high demand for spaces, with the academic year set to resume next week. Now, despite this challenge, perceptions around TVET colleges as a viable alternative remain a concern. The Department of Higher Education and Training is working to enhance the quality of qualifications offered by TVET colleges to better align with the evolving needs of the economy. Now, to discuss this further, we are joined on the line by Mr. Sam Zungu, who is the Deputy Director General responsible for TVET colleges at the Department of Higher Education and Training. Mr. Zungu, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the AM report. Of course, we did hear at the beginning of the year when the matric results were announced that a lot of matrics, around 337,000, would qualify for entrance into university. However, over 100,000 of them would not be able to be accommodated. Unfortunately, though, there is still a stigma that surrounds these TVET colleges, many seeing it as a last resort rather than a viable option. Why do you think this is the case, and what work have you done as the department to ensure that this changes and many more people see this as an option?
No, thank you very much, Andy. Greetings to you and the viewers at home. Indeed, maybe firstly one would like to congratulate the class of 2024 in their matric results. I think they did exceptionally well. Of course, as you put it, Andy, our Department of Education and Training is for those that have done exceptionally well and those that perhaps might have not been successful. So the colleges, or TVET colleges, we've got 50 of them with 280 campuses nationwide. The issue of the stigma around the TVET sector, I would say somehow it is historical. As we grew up as young people as well, everyone thought of furthering their careers through university education. And it has always been an issue when parents have to choose for their kids because they do have influence. Everyone wants to see their children somewhere at the university as if that is the only option for anyone to make a living, not understanding that in the major cities, for instance, like Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town, a person who is a qualified artisan as a plumber, for instance, might make more money than a medical doctor just on the work that they do. It is a stigma because it is always seen and associated with what is called the dirty jobs, because as a plumber, it means you have to go and do some dirty work somewhere. And as a mechanic as well, sometimes they think that your hands will always be dirty, not understanding that with the advancements in technology, sometimes you no longer get to have your hands dirty as you do this work. So it is something that is historical. In the 1940s, I think the options that particularly the Africans had in terms of career choices was probably limited to either becoming a teacher, a policeman or woman. Those were very limiting. And at a later stage, we then learned that, you can actually acquire a trade or a technical skill that will not give you an option to go and look for jobs, but also you can actually start your own business.
And you speak about this perception, particularly amongst the black middle class, which extends to things such as, graduation, wearing that gown, and people saying, well, you only get that in university. You're not going to get it at a TVET college. Talk me through the work then that you are doing as a department to change that perception and perhaps get a lot more people interested in going to TVET colleges.
Yeah, I think firstly, the most important thing has been around the issue of making sure that our program offerings are both responsive and relevant to the industry needs. And then secondly, we had to look at how can we invest in terms of the infrastructure that has to be developed. And although it will not be at the level that you'll probably find the universities, they are very old. It's an old system that has been there for many years, and it's quite a lot of investment that was made there. And there's been a huge gap in terms of the development of the TVET sector in our country. So as the department and as government, we have invested quite a lot in the development of infrastructure to make it more habitable and also to make it more advanced in terms of the technology. Further to that, as we introduce the new programs, we used to have our old programs that are called Report 190, 191, which is called the N programs, N1 to N6, which we are now in the process of phasing them out. And we are now introducing the new occupational qualifications and part qualifications that are accredited by the Quality Council for Trades and Qualifications, the QCTO. Now, with that, we will then need also to invest in developing and capacitating our staff members and making sure that our lecturers are also well equipped with the latest developments. We have further invested in terms of the ICT infrastructure and making sure, of course, our young people, as they wake up in the morning, they are on their phones all the way to the lecture rooms. So we are also bringing in the new exciting programs like your robotics, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and these are the kind of careers that our young people are looking for. So there's been some major reforms from curriculum transformation, also looking at issues of investing in infrastructure and also investing on our lecturers and making sure that they are well equipped and they are also digital savvy to deliver these advanced programs.
Well, it's good to hear that there's some courses being offered for jobs of the future, such as AI and robotics. But take me through the picture then of enrollments and how it's looking for 2025. Of course, there is the NDP project that's on the go, and you're looking to have about 1.25 million by the year 2030. How are things looking for this year? Because the trend has been, unfortunately, that there's a decline in terms of enrollments in the TVET sector when compared to the universities.
Yes, I think indeed there's been a decline. If I take us back to probably 2017, when we just closer to about 800,000, I think we had about 721,000 students enrolled in TVET colleges then. But due to the limitations and constraints in terms of funding, the numbers have since, dwindled because the size of the loaf remained the same. Yet the number of people that must eat that loaf keeps on increasing every year. As you were saying in your opening remarks, how many young people are coming out of the school system and now coming to institutions. And the limitations are not because we don't have physical space and perhaps personnel to cater for them. The issue is around funding of the TVET sector. I don't want to compare TVET colleges to universities because we've got different mandates. Ours, we're focusing on provisioning of entry and middle-level skills to our young people. You recall that back in 2010, we had to import skills from outside of the country. So for this year, we're looking at about 500,000 total enrollments in our TVET sector, with about 170,000 first entry enrollments that we're expecting to come into the sector. Yes, the demand is higher than what we can supply at this point in time, but going forward, as you've also alluded to, the National Development Plan of a target. In actual fact, it's 2.5 million, not 1.5 million in the TVET sector that is projected. But we are saying for us to probably get closer to those numbers, we'll have to change the mode of delivery, that we don't just focus on the physical or the mortar and the brick space, but we also look at blended learning, for instance, where we can introduce some of the programs online and introduce, methods like virtual reality, because part of the challenge of us going full online as TVET colleges or blended is that some of the programs require the practical component, because that's what distinguishes us from universities. Our program offerings is practical plus theory. So the practical component is bigger. It's about 60%, or in other programs about 70%, and only 30% or 40% will be the theory part. So when you take that online, in some programs, it creates limitations. That's why they need to be in the physical space. But there are programs that we are looking at migrating them into the blended learning platforms.
And just as we close off then, Mr. Zungu, to some parents and potential students that are listening now, some institutions are having enrollments closing early next month, and they're thinking of TVET College as an option. What words would you have to them to encourage them perhaps to use this as a viable option and not just as a last resort when other options have closed down?
I always have a payoff line, Andy, for the TVET sector that says, anything and everything that you can feel and touch in your room now or in your house has got a fingerprint of an artisan. So that's how important the TVET programs are in terms of contributing to the economic growth of the country, but also fighting some of the social ills, including this high unemployment, that this is an opportunity for your child as a parent, that your child does not have to complete his or her studies and then, formulate a CV to go and look for employment, but they could actually, complete their studies and be assisted in terms of formulating a fundable business plan. And we encourage young people to come to the TVET sector. If I make an example of the German model, most of the small, medium enterprises in Germany are established by the graduates from the TVET sector. In fact, if you don't have that qualification or a tradesman qualification, you are unable to start a business. As a hairdresser, as a plumber, as an electrician, you must be a master artisan for you to start a business in Germany. And we hope that our parents will also view this as an option for their kids instead of them going to universities and come back and form part of that long queue of the unemployed graduates. So we encourage young people, we encourage the parents to view TVET as an option. And I think that's what happened in the history of this country, that some of people, particularly from the white community, they were sent for compulsory military training. But during there, they were not only trained to how to shoot, but they were also trained and equipped with skills. So when they come back, they can be able, to make a career. And that is what we're trying to encourage, that we must change that inverted pyramid of most young people leaving school and then going to university. But instead, they must come to TVET colleges. Then you can advance your studies at a later stage and be a medical doctor, whatever that you want to be. So we wish you everything of the best. Please go to your nearest TVETs. TVETs are accessible. They are near you. You don't have to take long distances to go to a TVET campus. They are strategically positioned in your local communities. That's what I would probably convey to the South Africans out there.
I suppose that's even more important in a country that's struggling with high unemployment and job security. Thank you very much for your time. That is, of course, Mr. Sam Zungu, who is the Higher Education and Training Department, DDG, just telling us a bit more about the work that they're doing then to make TVET colleges a bit more attractive and viable.